What is your dream for your life? I love looking at these kinds of questions. One of the things that I found when I was looking at this originally was I don't know if I had a lot of dreams that I even considered that it was something I could do. Sometimes when we think about when we were a child, we had a whole lot of ideas about what our life might be like. Some of them were really different from what our life was like. If you felt very isolated and alone, you might have dreamed of being alone in a beautiful place in the country, or you might have dreamed of being around a big family, lots of friends. But we also dream a lot of occupation. And lots of times when we're talking to a young child, we'll say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And oftentimes there's themes. Children don't have a lot of detailed knowledge. Someone's not going to say, "Well, I want to be a data analysis for this particular thing for this particular disease or something." But generally, children will have some ideas. When we go through our life, none of us have achieved, I'm sure, all of our dreams. And part of this is that our dreams change. When I was a teenager and moving into young 20s, I was in freeze most of the time. I'd been very traumatized as a teenager. And I was just going along with somebody suggested, "Why don't you be an accountant? They have good hours. If you have kids, you can work from home." And I went, "Okay." And it wasn't at all what I wanted to do, even though I was good at it. But it's sad when I look back, and I'm sure that's a situation for many of us. We didn't have any encouragement to really go for what we wanted or to believe that that was something we could do. That self-determination and believing that we could follow our interests and our dreams was for other people. When I was about 11, 12, the Ouija board told me I was going to marry Paul McCartney. And obviously that's not going to come true. Also, I'll never be rich and famous. I'll never be a rock star. I'll never be an Olympic athlete. There's a lot of things that are not going to happen anymore for us. When we think about our old dreams, a lot of them are just like, "Well, yeah, I'm not interested, not anymore." But some of them have elements. So, what I wanted to do today is dream and vision a little bit. If you didn't have to think about anything practical, what might open up as your dream now for the rest of your life? There's some images here, firefighter, doctor. Those are very common answers when children are asked what they want to do. There's Megan Rapinoe, a soccer star, someone with a horse, a family, a really expensive place at the ocean. And Jane Fonda, who's in her 80s, still working, making movies. If you were to take a few minutes now, what were your dreams for your life as a child? And often now as an adult, if you think about when you were in your 20s, 30s, depending on how old you are, there might be a lot of decades. But when were the big shifts? A lot of times people will shift again around 40 to 50. We're becoming more aware that we don't have unlimited time. Let's take a few minutes for that. What were your dreams? What changed? What might they be? As you're looking at that, notice as well, what does that feel like in your body? Yeah, I always wanted to be a musician and then I didn't. I always wanted to live on a farm and I've always lived in a small apartment in the city. There might be a variety of emotions come up. Let's explore that a bit. Some of these dreams might be ones that you've tried and now you realize I achieved that and I don't actually, that's not really what I want anymore. It wasn't really what I thought it would be. Like having lots of money, for instance. Lots of people with a lot of money say it's not really the key to happiness. It might be that we want to have the freedom to do certain things and to be securely housed and those kinds of things. What are the common elements? So if you were to think back of 2 or 3 major dreams that you had, was it about excitement, adventure, friends, work that you might do, helping people? Are there some themes that have remained constant around your dreams? And be careful not to move into any shaming. We don't have to shame ourselves for our dreams, judge ourselves as shallow or something. I should want to help people, but what I really want is to have fun with my friends all the time, or whatever that might be for you. Let's give this another minute. What are some of those common elements? Let that move to the background a little bit. We're going to come back into that in a few minutes. One of the things that can get in the way of doing what we want or moving more into alignment with who we are now and what we want now can be that we're holding on to things that we need to let go of. The example that I've got here is that my meditation teacher was helping us process a distressing event that had happened at one of the teacher training programs. I was involved with helping organize this yoga meditation teacher training program, as was my first meditation teacher. And for a variety of reasons, she got angry and decided to leave the training. And he met with the rest of the committee and held his fists in front of him and just said, if you're holding on to your relationship with her, it's already over. Your old relationship is over. If you could open your hands, there's a possibility of something new. You might not necessarily have a new relationship with her, but you're not going to for sure if you're holding on to the old one. I think that's really applicable to our dreams and aspirations as well. If we could acknowledge, like for me, I'm not going to be an Olympic athlete at my age. I can be someone who's fit generally and exercises, but I'm not going to be an athlete. And it's not something I'm interested in either. If I had had that dream, we all have those different ones. If we're holding on to something that we actually don't really want anymore, or that's just really clear we're not going to get that, part of the practice then is to let it go. Okay, that's a dream that's over. I'm not going to ever be whatever that might be that you were wishing for or wanting. Let's sit with that for a moment. That part is over. That dream that I had for my life or what I want right now, it's not going to be that thing. That's not really possible. We might feel sadness or some kind of loss, but try to stay out of shame. There's no shame that we didn't do something the way that would have happened. In particular, if we were in a traumatized state, fight, flight, or freeze. Some of my dreams I didn't go after because I was in a state of freeze. The state of freeze was because of trauma. I was shut down. I wasn't engaged with my life. It's not okay to shame myself for that. I need to bring compassion, and we all do. See if there's anything that's in the way of letting go, and let yourself feel into that. It's okay to want things, even if they're not going to happen anymore. But is holding on to something preventing me from opening to something that could happen? If you were to close your fists and hold them in front of you and open them, what was in there? What is it that you could open your hands and let go of? I really wanted life to be this way. I need to accept that it's not. Take a couple of deep breaths and let's move into the inquiry. What does my heart know In this somatic inquiry, we're always interested in that. What does my body know? What does my heart know? What do I grieve or what do I long for? I really wish that I would have a really successful career where I got to travel all the time. It's not going to happen anymore. So, could I let that in? What do I need to let go of to grieve? If you were to let go, if you were to open your hands and let go of those old dreams, you could do that with your hands, put it in there, sense into that, and then open your hands, imagine or see that it's leaving. Is there a resistance to that? Is there a no? What's your response to that? Or it might be a relief. Yeah, that's true. I don't actually want that anymore. I know that that's not going to happen. I need to focus on some other version of that that will still give me what I want. That's not going to be that. I know what I value can be like a reverse inquiry. And it's a interesting process to look into. Am I aligned with what I really value? Is my life aligned along those lines? Firstly, we need to know what we value and if we really value getting along with my family, for instance, and I find that I'm not, or if I really value whatever that might be. What is it that you value? And can you bring your life into more alignment with that? It might be that I want to have more friendships. I want to have more social time. How could I do that? How could I invite that in? It might mean letting go or making less room for some old friendships that aren't really that healthy anymore. I can sense into this though. What do I really want? And how might I go about engaging with life so that I could bring more of that in, bring more of that to life? Really let yourself see it. Use all your senses, visual, sounds, who's there. Notice the thoughts that are coming and going in your mind. What do I really want? And what might that look like? This year, several years from now, if I want to build more friendships, what might that look like right now in the next 3 or 4 months? Next year, a few years from now? Keep aware of your body, keep your body regulated, notice your breath. Let yourself have a bit of fun with this. What is my dream for my life now? How can I make that happen?